My beloved, there is a power in silence that cannot be spoken, only lived. It is not the silence of fear, nor the hush of shame. It is the sacred quiet of a soul listening, deeply listening, to the sound of its own becoming. In a world that demands noise to prove your worth, dare to be still. Dare to be unmoved while others scramble. Dare to close your lips while the world opens its mouth. Because silence, my child, is not emptiness. It is the fertile soil where everything grows. You see, the sun does not boast of its rising. It simply climbs. The rivers do not shout of their journey to the sea. They simply flow. And so must you. Flow in your purpose, quietly certain, and certainly quiet. My beloved, there is a peculiar kind of strength that walks not with a shout, but with a whisper. A strength that does not seek to conquer by volume, but by presence. A strength that understands the holiness of restraint. You see, the world has fooled many into believing that to be strong, one must always speak, always defend, always respond. But I say to you, with the voice of centuries humming through my chest, strength is not always loud. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is to be silent. Now don't mistake me, child. This silence I speak of is not the silence of fear. No, it is not the silence of the shamed or the silenced. It is not the stillness of someone who has lost their voice. It is the deliberate quiet of someone who knows their worth too deeply to waste breath proving it. It is the hush of the soul that has come into knowing, and in that knowing finds no need to clamor. A tree does not argue with the wind. It bends, it breathes, it listens, and when the storm has passed, it is still standing stronger, wiser, rooted. So must you be. Be like that tree. Don't spend your life answering to every wind that tries to shake you. Some things are not worthy of your voice. Some battles are won not by confrontation, but by composure. We live in a world that rewards noise, a world that claps for the one who shouts the loudest, who interrupts the most, who never stops talking long enough to hear. But child, understand this. Not everything that is loud has value, and not everything that is quiet is weak. There is a reason why diamonds are formed in silence, deep beneath the surface of the earth. And there is a reason why the most powerful prayers are sometimes prayed without a sound. Just hands pressed together, eyes lifted, and hearts open wide. When you are silent, you give yourself the gift of listening, not just to others, but to your own soul. And oh, the things your soul has been waiting to tell you, the wisdom it holds, the truths it carries. But it can only speak when the world is quiet, and you are too. In that silence, you hear the rhythm of your purpose. You hear the steady beating of destiny's drum. You hear your ancestors clapping softly. Yes, baby, you're on the right path. Keep going. You do not need to shout to be strong. You do not need to argue to be right. You do not need to explain your existence to anyone who refuses to see your light. The sun does not stand before the moon and ask, "Am I enough?" It just rises. It just shines. So must you. Let your presence speak for you. Let your peace preach louder than your words ever could. Oh, but I know how tempting it is to speak up, to clap back, to give them a piece of your mind, especially when they mock you, misunderstand you, mistreat you. But child, listen. Don't you give your power to every fool who calls your name. Some things are beneath your spirit. Some fights are designed to pull you off your path, to waste your time and drain your joy. Leave them in the noise while you walk silently into your greatness. I have learned, through many long nights and tear-stained mornings, that silence can be a sanctuary. It is where I met my true self, where I touched the hem of God's garment and heard him say, "You are enough." And once you hear that, truly hear that, you no longer chase validation. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth. You carry yourself with the quiet confidence of one who is loved by the Creator and guided by wisdom. So let them talk. Let them shut, but you be still, be poised, be rooted. Know that silence is not your prison. It is your palace. And you are not hiding. You are healing. You are growing. You are preparing for the moment when the world will turn and say, "Who is that?" And without opening your mouth, without uttering a single word, your presence will answer, "I am here. I have arrived. And I brought peace with me." So go on, child. Embrace the power of your silence. Wrap it around you like a cloak. Wear it like a crown. And walk, not in fear, but in fullness. For there is a time to speak. But there is also a time to be still. And in your stillness you shall gather strength. In your quiet you shall gather wisdom. And in your silence you will gather everything meant for you. Everything, and it will be enough. There is a hush in the morning that speaks more profoundly than the voices of men. Before the world rises with its horns and its screens and its endless demands, there is a moment, a sacred moment, when all is still, and in that stillness the divine speaks. Child, the world teaches us to chase answers, to run after noise, to look outside ourselves for direction. But oh, how many weary souls have run miles and miles in search of something that was always whispering in their own chest. You see, the voice of God, steady, unwavering, does not come in the earthquake, nor the fire, nor the rushing wind. It comes in a whisper. And to hear a whisper, you must be still. Be still, my dear. Be still long enough to hear the guidance that cannot be forced. Be still enough to recognize the voice that has never stopped speaking. Only you are too loud, too hurried, too tangled in the rush of living to notice it. When you are silent, you become available to revelation. You become a vessel open to truth. You become a student seated at the feet of wisdom itself. God does not demand a stage to speak. God requires your attention. And attention in its purest form is silence. I have sat in rooms full of chatter, full of opinions, full of ego. Rooms where everyone had something to say, but no one had peace. And I've sat alone under a tree, with the wind tickling the leaves and the sun kissing my shoulders. And in that solitude, I heard everything I needed to hear, not from a preacher, not from a friend, not from the world, but from that still, small voice within. Oh, the Lord has a language that transcends syllables. He speaks in the curl of a baby's smile, in the rustle of leaves as they surrender to the fall. He speaks in dreams, in poems, in sudden clarity. But if your life is too loud, you will miss it. If your days are filled only with the noise of others, you will overlook the quiet truth meant just for you. And let me tell you this. God does not shout over your distractions. He waits, like a gentle mother watching her child spin in circles. He waits until you grow tired of the noise. And when you finally fall to your knees, weary and wondering, he speaks, softly, clearly, lovingly. It is in silence that your discernment is sharpened. That thing people call intuition. That's God's voice disguised as a gentle nudge. That feeling in your gut. That's heaven tapping on your ribs, saying, "You this way." But you can't receive divine direction if your mind is cluttered and your mouth is never closed. People will rush into decisions, into relationships, into chaos, because they haven't learned how to be quiet long enough to hear what their spirit is saying. But you, child, you must learn a better way. You must find time to retreat, to breathe, to listen. You must learn to guard your silence like a treasure, because it is through that silence that God pours his wisdom. I have found more guidance in silence than I ever did in debate. I have found more truth in meditation than I ever did in conversation. And when the world around me looked uncertain, when doors closed, when people turned, when I stood at the edge of something I couldn't name, I turned inward and upward. And every time the voice met me there, not in thunder but in tenderness. When you are silent, you invite the divine to sit beside you. When you are silent, you say, "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening." And oh, how he speaks! With grace, with direction, with promises that settle into your bones like warm tea on a cold morning. The world wants you moving fast, but heaven wants you to slow down. The world wants your attention, but heaven wants your alignment. When you get still, when you enter that sacred hush, you become aligned with something bigger than ambition, bigger than fear. You become aligned with your true path, the one carved just for you. So do not be afraid of the silence. Do not rush to fill it. Let it wash over you. Let it strip away the noise, the doubt, the need to control. Let it open your ears to the symphony of truth that's always been playing behind the noise. Some folks will call you quiet. Others might say you've changed. But let them talk. For while they're speaking, you're hearing heaven. While they're arguing, you're receiving direction. While they're chasing applause, you are gathering peace. And what a mighty treasure that is. So sit, my dear. Sit in your silence like a queen on her throne. Let the world spin if it must, but you stay still. For it is not in the chaos that we find God. It is in the calm. And in that calm, you will hear the voice that has carried your ancestors. The voice that split seas and raised the sun. The voice that says, you are mine. You are enough. And this is the way. Walk in it. Yes, be silent. And you will hear. And in that hearing, you will know. And in that knowing, you will be free. There is a kind of majesty that does not boast. A quiet grandeur, like the mountain that does not chase the sky, but simply stands. There is a nobility in those who do not need to announce themselves, who carry the weight of their dignity in silence. And I say to you, child, let your peace speak louder than your tongue. Let your presence preach when your words are still. For the truth is, the Spirit always speaks before the mouth does. In a world that is addicted to noise, your calm will confuse them. In a room full of shouting, your stillness will command attention. And not because you beg to be seen, but because peace, real peace, cannot be ignored. You do not have to explain yourself to everyone. No, you do not have to chase understanding from people who have already made up their minds. You don't need to shout your truth to be valid. Truth stands on its own. Truth doesn't need a mic, it just needs to be lived. And when it is lived, oh, how brightly it shines, like a lantern in a cave, like the moon pulling the tides. Steady, unshakable, divine. Some folks will want you to speak just so they can twist your words. Some will provoke you to react, not to understand, but to gain control. Let them play their games. You don't owe anyone your spirit. And your silence, that's your boundary. That's your shield. That's your crown. When you walk into a room and don't say a word, but the air shifts. Baby, that's power. When people pause, not because you raised your voice, but because you raised your energy, that's presence. And presence, real presence, is not created by noise. It's cultivated in silence. It's nurtured in self-respect. It's born from knowing who you are when no one else is watching. I have seen people demand respect with loud voices and clenched fists, and I have seen others receive it just by walking in peace. And I'll tell you this. The ones who live in peace always walk taller. They are the ones who sleep deeper. They are the ones whose joy is not borrowed from applause, and whose confidence is not shaken by criticism. Child, let your stillness speak. Let your peace fill the room. You don't have to prove your worth. Not to them, not to anyone. Just live it. Just be it. Because when you know who you are, you no longer need to convince anyone else. That kind of knowing wraps around you like velvet. It makes every step sacred. You will find that the people who carry the most wisdom often speak the least. They are not silent because they have nothing to say. No. They are silent because they have learned that everything does not require a response. They have learned that some things are best left to time, to God, to the unfolding of life. You too must learn this, child. Let your life speak so clearly that your mouth can rest. Let your actions be your anthem. Let your integrity ring louder than any argument ever could. And when they ask, why don't you fight back? Tell them, I don't fight with people who have not earned my peace. For peace is precious. It is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is not surrender, it is sovereignty. It is the power to say, I know who I am, and I will not trade my peace for a moment of petty victory. They will test you. Life will test you. People will push and prod, trying to awaken the fire in your belly, hoping you'll give them the reaction they're looking for. But you are not obligated to meet them in their chaos. You are not required to dance in their storm. You have the right to remain silent. Use that right as a gift to yourself. Use that silence as an altar where your soul can rest, where your prayers can rise, where your truth can echo in the chambers of your heart. And hear me, your peace will speak volumes. It will be the sermon they never forget. It will be the mirror they fear to look into. Because when someone sees a person who cannot be moved by drama, who cannot be baited by ego, who stands grounded in stillness, they see someone who is free, and nothing frightens the insecure more than someone who cannot be controlled. So walk in your stillness, child. Wrap yourself in your peace like a sacred robe. Don't let anyone steal it. Don't let anyone rush you out of it. For in that peace is your power. In that peace is your clarity. And in that peace is the God who goes before you, who stands beside you, who whispers behind you. This is the way. Walk in it. And when they wonder how you move the way you do, how you win battles without lifting your voice, how you draw favor without forcing your hand, let them wonder. Because the truth is, your spirit has been doing the talking all along, and it has said enough. There is a rhythm to life, my dear, a divine cadence that cannot be rushed, cannot be hurried. Just as the moon knows when to rise, and the rose knows when to bloom, so too must you learn the sacred art of waiting, of trusting, of being silent and still while the universe prepares to hand you what is yours. Oh, I know it's hard. We live in a world that glorifies the hustle, that worships the loud and the urgent. They'll tell you, speak up, take it now, push harder, don't stop. But child, there's a deeper wisdom that whispers just the opposite. A wisdom that says, wait, be quiet, be patient, because what is meant for you will come. Not through striving, not through screaming, but through alignment and peace. Think of the lion. Regal, powerful, full of fire, yet when it hunts, it does not roar. It moves in silence, in strategy, in stillness. And then, only then, does it strike. That, my child, is how you must walk through this life, not scrambling after every opportunity, not begging for love or chasing applause, but standing still in your knowing, quiet in your spirit, waiting for your time. And hear me now, it will come. It may tarry. It may not come on your schedule or according to your calendar. But the delay does not mean denial. Sometimes God is just wrapping your blessings in lessons. Sometimes He's preparing the table, setting it just right, so when you sit down, there will be no doubt that it was all worth the wait. Patience, child. Patience is not weakness. It's not passivity. It's power under control. It's the strength to stay the course when nothing around you makes sense. It's the faith to believe that silence is not empty, but full of the things we cannot yet see. You see, when you are silent, you are not inactive. You are in preparation. You are gathering strength. You are listening for direction. You are aligning with your destiny. The world will try to rush you, pressure you, make you believe that if you don't shout, you'll be forgotten. But I tell you, God does not forget His promises, and He does not need you to be loud for you to be seen. He sees you now, in your stillness, in your uncertainty, in your silence. He sees you, and He is working things out behind the curtain of your life. Every closed door, every unanswered prayer, every season of loneliness, it all has a place in the masterpiece He's weaving. But you must trust Him enough to wait. Trust Him enough to be quiet. I've seen people lose their blessings because they couldn't stop talking long enough to hear instruction. I've watched folks walk away from miracles because they couldn't bear the silence of waiting. Don't let that be you. Still stay faithful. Know that what is yours cannot be taken, and what is not yours cannot be forced. And while you wait, don't just count the minutes. Make the minutes count. Use your silence to grow, to learn, to heal. Let patience do its holy work inside of you. Let it stretch you, refine you, smooth out your rough edges. Let it teach you to sit with yourself and find contentment, not in what you have, but in who you are. Oh, what a gift it is to wait and still believe, to wait and still smile, to wait and still serve, because that is where the real transformation happens. Not in the blessing itself, but in the becoming that happens before it. You may feel hidden now, unseen, overlooked. But remember, seeds grow underground. Roots dig deep in the dark before they ever touch the light. And when they rise strong. They rise unshakable. So too will you. When the time is right, you will bloom, and nothing will stop the glory that is coming. Don't be afraid of silence, my love. Don't fear the quiet seasons. Embrace them. Cherish them, because they are not a punishment. They are preparation. You are not forgotten. You are being fortified. And when your moment comes, and it will, oh, how sweet it will be, because you didn't force it. You didn't beg for it. You waited. You believed. You let your silence speak. And now the blessing has found you exactly where you were meant to be. So take heart, my child.
Be still.
Be silent. Wait with grace, because everything that is yours, every dream, every love, every opportunity is already written with your name, and no amount of noise, no amount of rushing, no amount of fear will change what heaven has set aside for you. It's coming. Trust the silence. Trust the timing. Trust your God. There comes a moment, child, when the best response you can give the world is no response at all. Not because you are cold, not because you are weak, but because your spirit has outgrown the need to explain, defend, or correct. There comes a moment when your silence is your strength, your stillness is your statement, and your restraint is your roar. You see, people will come into your life carrying chaos in their hands and confusion in their hearts. They will try to pull you into arguments that have no end, into debates that drain your soul, into battles that were never yours to fight. And if you're not careful, you'll mistake their noise for importance. You'll think that by responding, you're standing up for yourself. But let me tell you something, baby, every dog that barks doesn't deserve your attention. Some people talk just to be heard, not to be understood. And if you lend your energy to every word they throw your way, you'll find yourself tired, bitter, and no better for it. You'll learn in time that peace is more valuable than being right. That keeping your spirit intact is more noble than proving your point. That silence, when chosen wisely, is the language of the mature. There is a grace in walking away, a quiet kind of courage in not engaging. And don't you let anyone mistake your silence for surrender. No, child. Your silence is sacred. It means you've chosen the higher road. It means you know who you are, and you refuse to shrink down to meet someone else in their mess. I've sat across from people whose words dripped with venom, who wanted to draw me into the mud with them. But I smiled. I stood. I walked away. Not because I couldn't have won the fight, but because I had already won the war within myself. And that victory, that inner peace, that is something the world cannot give, and it surely cannot take away. You've got to know when to speak and when to stay silent. Every response is an invitation, and not every invitation is worth your RSVP. Learn to bless people with your silence. Learn to let your lack of reply be your loudest declaration. Let them wrestle with your stillness. Let them feel the weight of your absence, because sometimes your silence teaches lessons your words never could. Now don't get me wrong. There is a time to speak, a time to stand, to declare, to cry out from the mountaintop what must be said. But not every hill is worth climbing. Not every battle is worth bleeding over. You must learn discernment, child. You must know when your voice is a weapon of light, and when your silence is your shield. There is power in restraint, power in pausing, power in saying to yourself, "This moment does not deserve the fullness of me." And in that pause, in that silence, you are reclaiming your energy. You are protecting your joy. You are saying without words, "I choose me." Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them write their stories and twist their truths. You don't need to correct every lie told in your name. The truth, like the sun, cannot be hidden forever. It rises with or without your defense. And when it does, it shines so brightly that even the darkest rumors fade into shadows. And while they are watching, while they are waiting for your reaction, stand tall in your stillness. Show them that your silence is not emptiness, but elegance. Show them that your refusal to engage is not fear, but wisdom. Let them come to understand in time that you are not moved by small minds or shallow hearts. Do not be afraid to leave a conversation unfinished. Do not fear the discomfort of silence. Do not shrink when they misunderstand you. Some people are not meant to hear your truth because they are not ready to receive it, and that is not your burden to bear. Walk in your peace. Walk in your knowing. Let your silence be your prayer, your posture, your protection. Because there are blessings that only come to those who refuse to be distracted. There is clarity that only comes when you are quiet enough to hear your own heartbeat. There is healing that only happens when you withdraw from the noise. So, my love, next time they come for you with words sharpened like swords, let them swing into the air. Next time they raise their voice, lower your own. Let their anger echo in the hollowness of their intent, while you remain anchored in the depth of your purpose. You are not here to argue. You are here to evolve. You are not here to explain yourself to everyone. You are here to embody what cannot be explained. And sometimes the most eloquent response is to rise, to breathe, to say nothing, and to keep shining anyway. Remember this. Silence is not just the absence of noise. It is the presence of strength, of dignity, of divine restraint. It is the language of those who know that not every storm needs their thunder. Sometimes, the stillness after the storm is the loudest miracle of all.